And we are live. What is up, everyone? Welcome on in. Happy Tuesday.
Dash back seats with show your butthole, I mean badge.
Yo, Dash, what's up? Welcome on in. How are you doing? Annuel, welcome on in. Hope everyone's doing well. Anyway, alright. Yeah. Today's agenda. I'm in meeting mode. I'm still in meeting mode. Anyway, yep. This will probably be a short stream. I need to bow out at the 2-hour mark because I have to be up really early tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll get through as much as we can. Hopefully tonight. This is a long-ass last case, as with any Ace Attorney game. So yeah. Yeah, I guess let's just do it. Let's continue. Boo work. I know, right? By the way, I do have new emotes and meme motes. That's all it. Anyway, alright. Yeah, let's go. Alright, this is part 3 of the trial, so we're in recess and we're just back to the defendant's antechamber. Alright, 17th April 1241, the Old Bailey defendant's antechamber. Gina, how are you holding up? Starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now. Ginny, are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything? What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and find it so hard for the likes of me? What? Well, you saw it, that picture. What picture? You mean this? The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder? Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to court. Surely you got to have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Ginny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Eh? Runos cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. Alright then. Wow, now you're talking. Alright. It was after we'd had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a catch up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to the 2-1 to Windy Bank's place. I had to know. If Iris' story was there or not, the Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing. But if you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like. Something what you don't want people reading. So that's why I lied to Iris about sticking it in lug with Windy Bank for safekeeping. God, I cannot do this accent. At least that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Windy Banks. I just had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all that was gonna kick off, did I? I struck the lock and snuck inside. It was dark, as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp on the counter a bit of wick, and that's when... What do you think you're doing? Ah! I nearly died, I did. And next thing I knew... I grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving it in the air like I don't know what. You're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mantle script. Have you got it here? Did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story? I beg your pardon? The Hound or the something Or rather, if it's in here, I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyway? I just want to see its ear, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned that ear or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around with you. Oh, alright. So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. I noticed there, alright, the mantle script. Sholmes weren't lying after all. You did all that just to check for me, Ginny? Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up out in the main bit of the shop. The Silken brothers arriving on the scene, yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me, sorry. I'd better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh well, I've come with you and... Now don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took a gun out of me and walked back out in the shop. Alright, so at that point... Windybank had the gun. It wasn't with Gina, so probably the gun was planted. I hung back in the storeroom like you said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got in a bit of scrap. I started to think I should help and see. So I was just about to go out the storeroom myself when... Bang! Bang! 2 gunshots. I heard a couple of shots go off, too, I think, almost at the same time. And then there he was, right at my feet, lying face down on the floor. Okay. So he walked back into the storeroom. Probably. Gina was eating fish too. Yeah, right. No, Gregson is the one who has all the fish. He has fish and chips. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it quick as you like. Cause you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windybank might come for you. Yeah. So I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew... Windybank was a goner. Alright. So, Windybank was shot outside. He went back in the storeroom. Then he collapsed. Gina took his gun. Alright, I felt funny in me and all of a sudden kind of dizzy. So she probably collapsed after that. That's why she was holding the gun afterwards. And after that, I don't remember nothing. Alright, so that... If that's true, that solves the mystery why Gina has the gun. Yes, the notes emote. So that solves the mystery why Gina has the gun. It doesn't have any bullets loaded. And Windybank was on the floor. So now the question is, the bullet on the calendar, was it from Windybank's gun or the brother's gun? That must be when you passed out. Also, alright, if there's a third bullet... shoot. So there's a question of the third bullet, because there was another bullet found in Sholmes' purse. Anyway. And according to the guns... This had only one round and it was fired. There were signs that a single round was fired. So there might be a third gun. Anyway, if there's a third bullet. Alright. If I ain't done what I done, The old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it made things even worse for me. It'll be alright, Jenny. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Runo's about to put the real culprit through the mill. That cove, what was there in the afternoon? That Eggert Benedict? I still remember how he looked at me, like I was nothing. He was there that night. Wait, how did she see that he was there? She was locked in the room unless the body was transported? We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. You what? You can leave it all in Runo's capable hands now, Ginny. Mr. Naraodo. Naraodo. Yes. Oh, call me trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and McGilded, we told you a whole pack of lies. And you got the bog trotter off with him, even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh. I did what I thought was best at the time, but the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook all for all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who'd done it. Oh, Runo. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me and was prepared to defend me. My best friend, Kazuma. Ryunosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry, I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver and a no-good liar? You're not like McGilded, I know that. Eh? That's right, you're our friend, Ginny. Iris. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust. Yes! That's really all we need to know. Exactly. Mr. Naraodo, I... Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately. Yes, of course. Thank you. I'd been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last, the final chapter, the final battle. Wish me luck, Susato-san. And I hope you're watching over me too, partner. Will this be the last part of the trial? Please. Okay, 17th April, 1:41 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zeeks, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately, my lord. However, the heavy rain has delayed the arrival of his carriage, it would seem. I see. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's precis of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom. It's a big mistake to cross Hurley and me. A very big mistake. My lord, the subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Thank you, officer. Show him to the stand without delay. Mr. Eggert Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon, and certainly not like this. Thank you for complying with the court subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord, as an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record.
9 months. That's almost a year with this attorney professional nerd. Psycho 1 fan.
Yo, Coburn, what's up? Thank you for the 9-month resub and the Prime sub. How are you doing? Welcome on in. Enjoy the emotes and ad-free viewing. We do have new emotes. By the way, oh my god, controller. I have to plug this in now. Damn it. Ah, shoot. Alright, this cuff is getting very annoying. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I hope it's not serious. Just drink a lot of fluids and get some rest. Alright, let's go. Alright, Ashley Graydon, Communications Officer. Oh, that's why his cane had AG and the initials. Mr. Graydon and I both work at London Central Communication Station. Now perhaps somebody would kindly explain what all this is about. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume? Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place at the pawnbrokers on Baker Street. And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know? Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath. Oh my god. Gladly, my lord, gladly. Been drinking water and sucking some throat lozenges, but it seems to have gotten a little worse tonight. Oh, yeah. On the plus side, free voice change, now it's deeper. Yeah, I hope you get better, dude. Yeah, if ever that like happens to me, I just like gargle. What do you call this? Shoot, hexetidine or something for the throat. Then yeah, throat lozenges. Shoot, I forgot what it's. I don't use strepsils. Crap, I forgot what I use for that. Then yeah, just drink lots of fluids. Deflam, yep, deflam, deflam, yep. All right, the accusation. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene, some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. Got those as well as Sabucol, the one with elderberries. Alright, so I think your brands there are different. Shoot, I forgot what brand I was using. I'm using, anyway, yeah, just that truth gargle. Alright, so you denied the accusation completely, do you? I must say, I am dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy, it was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Got a client tomorrow, suggest me. Yep, that's a good idea. Right. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly. How long am I expected to be detained here? If, following the defense's cross-examination, your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good, then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least. Let us not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with this cross-examination. So, we meet again, Mr. Egbert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies, you are... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met. If you say so. Ashley Graydon, enchanté. So... Wow, he caught the hat. I trust we can conclude this quickly. But I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do. Detective Filipino. Yo, Kwasai, what is up? Welcome on in. Naturally, I have occasion to make fun broking. Alright, so I think I just have to press everything first. Yes, we even met in the very pawnbrokery where the crime took place on the afternoon of the day in question. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. It was Mr. Egbert Benedict, I believe. Tell me, what made you... The witness is here to testify about events that took place that night. He is under no obligation to answer such unrelated questions. You can't be serious. Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question. He's going to be evasive, is he, in an effort not to give anything away? This could be tricky. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals. Said by a man who introduced himself as Egbert Benedict. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? The young lawyer there in the black. This is a farce. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Well, needless to say, you have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation. Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That is past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly. I was not in the company of these rapscallions. You're able to prove that?
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend. For you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? The witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. Okay, shoot. I can present the disc with the blood. However, I don't know if I'm gonna get penalized because the judge says I can't use that argument. I mean the blood tests. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. A silent victory wiggle, thanks. Even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene...
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime, there's no question of that. Mr. Shom's chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such. Okay, I don't know if the judge will react to this. But I am not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholmes' chemical is... Spare me the science lesson. Who is this Sholmes character anyway? Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know the name. He's, well, a renowned detective. So even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? Now we're in the realm of fairy tales, are we? Alright, wait. Okay. You reacted, why?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin? Eh, what, me? No, the Mr. Skulkin next to you. Right, I've had it up here to this. How many times have I got to tell you? Yes, I know, you're not Big Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin. Eh, core blimey, governor. You what? Is it not the case that Mr. Graydon's just spoke? A thought just went through your mind? Would you care to share that through with the court? Me thoughts? I don't have none of them. Must have been him. You what? Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke? Nothing. Honest gov, nothing. I was just thinking. If he waves his arm around like that much more, it'll open up the wound again, that's all. What wound? Where he took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up yet. So I was, well, you know, I was worrying for him and... Oh, else bells. He slipped. He slipped. Mr. Graydon, did you hear that? What? Oh, he's holding his shoulder now. Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm? My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon. I have no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly, I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you'd allow a court official to examine your arm, sir. The left arm that you're currently clasping with your right hand as if in pain. No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obliged to permit any such invasion of my privacy. Or privacy, if you're British. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all of this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbroker where this fellow was killed whatsoever. Oh, now he's just doing stuff with his right hand. He's not moving his left. I take offense in the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have had nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Windybanks' pawnbrokery. My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Mr. Graydon's formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon. Alright, I need to press this. So I think I have to present the ticket here. Sorry, wait. I think I present this, right? Because he got this thing, right? He claimed that this was the other one that was in the scene of the crime. So this was the ticket that he claimed the quote. He used to claim the quote with. You forget that I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very afternoon of the incident. Obviously, I am not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to furnish my stay. No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, Greg C has something.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, Inspector? Eh? Come again, Sunshine? You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector? That afternoon. This is already plugged. Wow, I know, right? Well, yes, I do remember meeting yourself in the pawnbrokers that afternoon. You, your young Japanese assistant, and the accused were all present, as I recall. And at that time, this witness, Mr. Graydon, was trying to acquire a particular article. Well now. I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly. Oh, now, why is he not talking? I'm not going to lie and pretend I remember something that I don't. What's going on here? Gregsy showed us a picture before, didn't he? You know, from the cameras that Hurley installed in Windybanks? Yes, of course. Indeed, and that gentleman pictured bears a striking resemblance to the witness, I must say. Exactly, which proves that Mr. Graydon was in the shop on the afternoon in question. At no point have I denied that fact. I merely entered the shop to pursue the articles on sale and have a word with the broker. Nothing more. This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Graydon might be trying to cover his tracks. But why would Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? That's all he's going to say on the matter, is it? What do you think, Bruno? I think he has no intention of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has of giving himself away. The complete opposite of Hurley, then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better. Well, at least I've managed to prise a little more information from these witnesses' lips. All thanks to the Skulkin brothers. Yes, they were the key to it after all. So he says he had nothing to do with Windy Banks. Well, we know that's not true. Perhaps it would be a good time to have a proper look through the court record. Good idea. You never know what tiny scrap of information could become a valuable weapon. Alright, so... 2, 3... Okay, you never had anything to do with the establishment. So... I think I need to present here the... ticket.
Objection!
What? No, wait, what? Okay. I never had anything to do with the pawnbroking establishment where the man was killed. However, is it the disc?
Objection!
Okay, it's the disc. Damn, alright. Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? This disc was until the day of his murder in pawn in Mr. Windybank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared to try to take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course, wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? As I have reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That is not. Alright, he's acting differently. Usually in an Ace Attorney game, once you call out somebody, they're gonna have a reaction that's near breakdown. But he's very composed. Oh, this is interesting. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there is a small smear of blood on the disc. Yes, resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps. That's right, the surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. In a skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of this smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch. Good gracious, indeed it must. Mr. Graydon, you refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Well, well. It would seem I underestimated you. What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now. You admit you have a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant? Order! Well, Mr. Graydon, it would appear there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item that you own out of pawn? It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence, my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. Though I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. Alright, why are we going to the disc now? There's a note on the disc saying for McGilded, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutterling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. McGilded, you say? The famous London philanthropist? Who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of distinctly messy murder? Yes, my lord. The one and the same. Good lord, Mr. Graydon. Are you saying that McGilded and yourself were acquainted? Yes, that's correct. Okay. Did he kill the brickmaker? I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again. According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGilded himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windybanks. It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming the disc belongs to him then, isn't it? In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at Windybanks in order to get his hands on McGilded's disc for some reason. Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please. The disc. There's a... But the item belongs to me. Alright, examine disc. So yeah, it says for McGilded.
Hold it!
Would you care to explain how this belongs to you? As you'll observe, a communications officer such as myself commands a fine salary. You're certainly exquisitely dressed, sir. So you see, I have little need to make use of the services provided by the pawnbrokery trade. However, I did once find myself in difficulties having misplaced my purse whilst on an errand. Which is why I pawned my fine black overcoat to the broker in question. That's not your coat. You claim that was your coat? Obviously. And in my haste, I clean forgot that the music box disc was in its pocket. And yet, there is a note on it that reads, for McGilded. I am a collector of rare and unusual music box music. I first met Mr. McGilded at a gentleman's club in the city, and it was interested to discover that he shared my penchant in that area. So the disc in question, it's a pre-production sample. I promised to let Mr. McGilded hear it. But then you forgot that it was in the pocket of the overcoat you were forced to pawn. Yes, exactly. Gina didn't mention of that in her testimony 2 months ago, did she? No, because McGilded had threatened her to keep her mouth shut. Which means that if we dig too deeply here, it's going to expose Gina's perjury. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh dear, this is complicated, isn't it? Let's leave it alone for the time being. Oh, alright, wait. That means we're gonna delve deep into that because we have the McGilded trial notes. Ah, shoot. Anyway, the redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutterling on the day in question. So you're saying that Miss Lestrade lifted the ticket from your pocket or bag? That's right, despite being mindful of danger when walking in the insalubrious areas her kind frequent.
Objection!
Miss Lestrade did no such thing. Well, of course, you would take that stance, but the girl is a regular offender. You came to the pawnbrokery that day prepared with all the information you needed to identify the defendant. You were looking for her. That's what brought you to Windybanks. To get your hands on Mr. McGilded's disc.
Objection!
My learned friend is a veritable font of nonsense. Nonsense? I concur with the prosecution. Counsel, you will refrain from conjecturing in this way. Is that clear? Yes, my lord. Then I will continue with my testimony for what possible use it can be. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article.
Hold it!
Had you ever been to Windybanks before? Only once for the purposes of pawning something, but like many, I enjoy browsing in such establishments. So when you noticed that the pickpocket had taken your ticket, you chased after her, is that correct? Yes, that's right. I didn't notice at first, of course. Such is the art of the pick purse. But when I did, I headed to the pawnbroker at once in order to reclaim my coat before the thief could. I was merely trying to recover what was rightfully mine in the first place. He can say what he likes because he knows we have no evidence to contradict him on this. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police.
Hold it!
Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it? That's right, this was the very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has a connection to McGilded
right?
as evidence. Okay, Gregsy.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Inspector? What do you mean? The last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way. Eh? No! No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone. Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering McGilded's processions? I can't tell you something like that, Sunshine. What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets? Yes, exactly. You should know all about that. Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned throughout the capital for his great contributions to public life, yet he had a dark side too. Where are you going with this, Van Zeeks? I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, are they? That's enough. Coppers like me have duties to carry out that we're not at liberty to talk about. That's all you need to know. Duties conferred by Long Strongheart, I presume. The Lord Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector. The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw print first. What's all this about? It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Van Zeeks here. Well, it would appear that the Inspector has revealed all he is at liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony. Gladly, my lord. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night.
Hold it!
Alright, but perhaps you'd seen something of value among the forfeited items. No, not at all. Oh. A valuer was brought in by the police to assess everything in the shop. Without exception, every article in the shelves was common or garden bric-a-brac. In that case, it's clear that you broke into the shop later that day in order to recover McGilded's disc. No, but the disc was with the police. Have you not been listening, man? Even if I had wanted to recover the disc, you may recall that it had been seized by the police at that afternoon. It was no more in the shop that night than I. As I keep saying, I simply had no reason to break in. So there was nothing of McGilded's left in the shop that night. There was another thing, right? Wait. There was this. There was this. This was also McGilded's, right? There was a small box. I wonder if that's really true. Bruno, if you have some evidence, then let him have it. I'm dying to see that irritatingly assured expression of his crumble. McGilded slipped the disc in his coat pocket and had it deposited in the banks. Then, when he realized he was going to be arrested on suspicion of the omnibus murder, he threatened Gina and forced her to take the redemption ticket. There's no doubt about it, that witness is lying through his pearly white teeth. The police were obviously after anything left behind by McGilded as well. That's why Inspector Gregson ended up taking the disc into his custody that day. But Gregsy's being very strange all about this. There must be a reason for that, I'm sure. I just don't know what that is. For now, I need to focus on exposing the fact that Graydon is lying in his testimony. Okay. Save scum. By the way, I have a save scum emote now. Alright.
Objection!
This disc was deposited at Windybanks on Magnus McGilded's instructions. You knew that and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection!
Conjecture again, and in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbrokery again that night.
Objection!
Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article in pawn at Windybanks, as this second pawnbroker's ticket proves. There were 2 articles belonging to McGilded in Windybanks pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one, together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This is the second ticket, is it? What had the man deposited? The article description reads, "one small box." A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting that I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article had been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no need for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed. The witness makes a solid argument. So that means for some reason, this Graydon fellow needed the small box that very night, doesn't it?
Objection!
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Could you be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zeeks? I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. Wow, I can't read, wow. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windybank's pawnbrokery. And rest assured, the prosecution can prove it. Good gracious. Inspector, show the photographic prints to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? Okay, we're gonna do the compare thing again. These prints were taken from one of the detective security cameras. Hurley's red-handed recorders again. As previously explained, using this plan of the shop layout, the victim's establishment was furnished with automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Windybank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which articles were placed for sale once forfeited. According to the information in this ticket, McGilded's small box had been forfeited already, 2 days before the incident at 9 p.m. on 13th April to be precise, which means it would have been on the shelves of forfeited items on the shop front. Now, what I have here is a print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's at 11 p.m. on 15th April. The victim had certainly a very full shop, it would appear. And then here we have another print. This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. I see, so we have 2 pictures to compare. Though I must say, placing them side by side leaves me cold. Okay, this is where the stereoscopic prints, we use that thing again. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, at Scotland Yard, we considered theft as one possible motive in this case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's lie. So your men have already compared these two prints thoroughly, Inspector. Yes, sir! We counted every single item in each of these two photographic prints. And the Yard's conclusion is that exactly the same number are present in both. Alright, the thing is, there might be something that might have slightly changed in between those two prints. In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy. Ah! I don't believe it. If I could have just shown that he'd stolen MacGilded's pawn box. I might have been able to break him down at last. Break down! You know what, Truno? I've been thinking. I wonder if these two photographs really are exactly the same. Shoot. There's the, oh no, wait, I think I see it. It's the it's one box. I see it. See the thinker statue, the box below that. It shifted positions. Alright. Ad break will start in 1 minute. I think I'll take a very quick break in between that. So, yep. So, alright. I think what we'll do now is I'll take a very short break. I'll start the ads. So, yep, I do hope you stick around during the ad break. And yeah, if you don't like the ads, go get Turbo. You'll get more value from that. Or if you like the emotes, go sub. Anyway, I will take a very quick break and run the ads, and I will BRB in around 3 minutes. So yeah, BRB. Okay, we found the balloon room now. Can finish the level normally. Where does this go? Captain Toad, of course.
Time for adventure.
Quite the surprising place to run into someone, huh? This should be it, right? Wow. Dummy. Jeez. Damn, shouldn't like that bridge bring me to the other side? Okay, so hit on off, then go back. Oh, I was in the red state, so now I'm in the blue state. So this is probably gonna break now, right? Oh, it. Yup. CP1. Oh, you have the boom boom. Wait, where's boom boom? There. Nice. Oh.
That. Oh, that was so good. Holy crap. When you were expecting like a Shelmet, you suddenly get a boot in the face. Oh.
And we back. And just as we got back, my controller disconnected again. Really now. I don't know if it's my controller or just the Bluetooth connection in between. When this is connected to like my PC, I have no issues with it. So I don't know if it's just like the connection with the Switch. Oh jeez, is it the battery now? All right, let's continue this case. So we have two new photographs. So let's find if there is a difference between those two. All right, in the light of evidence put forward by the prosecution, what is your position? It seems that, in fact, on the night in question, nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion? I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy in these two photographic prints somewhere? Wasn't sure at first, but there is a clear discrepancy in between these two pictures. What? You must identify the location in question for the court counsel. Indicate the precise location of the discrepancy of which you speak.
Take that!
Granted, these two prints are almost identical. However, there is one minor discrepancy between them. What? When you view the two pictures stereoscopically, I didn't do that, but yep, it's that little box. A single area stands out as being different, the location of this small box. Let me wait. Unbelievable. By Jove, you're right, how extraordinary. What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilded's small box was indeed not stolen from Windybanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves. Are you suggesting that the small box originally deposited by McGilded is in fact... Yes, the very same small box I just identified in these photographic prints. Mindless guesswork. What if it was? So a box was moved on the shelf, nothing was stolen. Which means quite simply that nothing has changed. That may be true, but McGilded's box wasn't stolen then. But that doesn't the fact that it was moved like that change things. I believe this changes everything about the case. How can that possibly be? The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside that box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that we need to examine that box as soon as possible. A vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at Windybanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial. The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zeeks. Bailiff, arrange for an officer to go to Baker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination. He will be in another recess. Ah. We should have a report within half an hour. Okay, we have another recess. Perhaps we should recess for a short while until the evidence is brought forth. To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing. I beg your pardon, Lord Van Zeeks. This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Nipponese specialty, it would seem. What are you trying to say? My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning. That this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to Mr. McGilded from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles have value enough to be worth stealing in the first place. Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property. If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of his trial. A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established that he was the upstanding member of society his reputation implied in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend and his most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding members of society pawned were entirely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one of its pockets, and a small box. I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me. You know, that does make a rather lot of sense. It's not as if it was gold or jewels, is it? Though goodness knows. But you can't deposit cash at a pawnbrokery, I'm quite certain of that. The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling. It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by a fine citizen would have. Well, counsel, is your argument in fact demonstrable? Are you able to show proof that the disc or the box are in a tangible way related to this case? Well, what's the matter, Runo? We know that they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence. Yes, of course, you and I both know that. We know McGilded's true character, and we know the disc is significant, even if we don't know why. But if we explain all that to the court at this point, we'll have to acknowledge that McGilded's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake. That the defense's argument was flawed, based on false information. Oh no. And that would mean admitting that Jeetna committed perjury. But Ginny, could it be that Van Zeeks knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he anticipated everything? But maybe this could be a great opportunity for us. Sorry, what do you mean, Iris? Well, what is it that you always say, Runo? Sooner or later, the truth comes out, every time. Alright, the exact significance of the things that McGilded deposited with Mr. Windybank is something that only Gina can explain to the court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage her chances of winning this case. What's the right thing to do here? Oh god. We have to let Gina testify. My lord, the defense would... Ah, my god. Where's my other... Damn it. The defense would like to make a proposal. What proposal, counsel? While the court awaits the arrival of McGilded's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited at Windybanks by Mr. McGilded, my lord. Miss Lestrade's information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, well. Things are becoming interesting.
Dash back seats with. My lord, the defense would like to plug in your controller, please.
I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused standing, and indeed your own. I have. Lord Van Zieks, would you care to explain that last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself. Very well, if you have no objection. So, the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. You witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further notice. Then I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. As you wish. Alright then, Gina, it's time. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here. Good luck, Bruno. Okay, why is Ashley Graydon still in the stand? I thought they were only gonna have Gina testify. The articles that Mr. McGilded had deposited in Windybank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilded. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now here we are all again. The same players in that trial facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilded. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged, that the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGilded died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. As indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor the small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade, would you tell the court now, please, what really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago, I mean? I don't know what you mean. I already said all of what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. But remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose. I have nothing to lose. Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Runo now. Iris, we're on your side. Alright then, I'll talk. It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears, so be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that McGilded spawned articles and that extraordinary case of the omnibus harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you'll now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it then, everything's gonna come out. Like Van Ziek said, this could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. Real truth of the omnibus case. Truth is that Brickmaker Cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over me, and that pair on the roof deck went off to call the slops. That's when McGilded slipped the driver something to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I seen or heard. Good grief, this is outrageous. What you've just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord. Then there's every chance I may have adjudicated in error McGilded's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, of which this witness and of my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. Don't forget the lawyer from these, they're all together. You're wrong, the lot of ya. Mr. Naraodo, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it. Humbug. I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that? He really stitched up everyone, didn't he? What an operation to get the man off scot-free. Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop. Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it is imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGilded's pawned articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depths of calamity you have just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing. Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. Blimey, Mr. Naruhodo. Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. The real truth of the omnibus case. Truth is that Brickmaker Cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. Alright, so, press. Okay, we need to press everything. And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats. Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all. Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claimed Mr. McGilded was the sole passenger, did you not? False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me I had to say. But it's important they tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilded and the victim acquaintances? I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying. Perhaps business dealings of some kind. Well, anyway, they got louder and louder. It started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe, and then all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone kneeling over the floor. It was blooming loud and all. And I believe he let out an involuntary scream. Yeah, that's what gave me away. When the Irishman dragged me out of the underseat, I saw the disc on the floor. Alright. Was the disc you saw this disc? Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove lying on the floor. Could this disc have belonged to the victim perhaps? I don't know, but McGilded picked it up pretty smartish. And then he sat the cove with the knife in its belly up on the seat. What did he say to you at the time? He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared, the way he was looking at me, I thought. If I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me a load of questions, like what my name was and where I lived and at, and he asked me about being a diver too. But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed. Yeah, that's right. First there was a kind of rapping noise. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over me, Ed, and that pair on the roof deck went out to call the slumps. Alright, so that was Fair Play and the other guy. There were two gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe. That's right. They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife is in the guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses and McGilded got me out of sight. Out of sight? Where? Back under the seat where it started off. Once the carriage came to an halt, the two coves from the roof ran off to fetch the slops. If they immediately left to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left McGilded, the driver, and you still at the scene. Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside. The driver, yes, he also testified in the trial, I believe. A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves. What did McGilded and the driver say to each other? I don't know what happened and stuff like that mainly. That's when McGilded slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout. That pawn shop obviously being Wendy Banks and Baker. Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well? Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was in the stand. Indeed, Lord Van Zeeks. McGilded took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up all careful like before and handed it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's in it got to be worth a few bob. Yes, Gina was sure the disc must be worth more than Mr. Windybank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery. The driver looked pretty happy when McGilded flashed some brass in his face. He went running off at a lick. Then the bog trotter called to me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I seen or heard. Threatened you how exactly? Told me I'd only be able to scarper if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago? Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said. Okay, what are... These two are talking. Which was... He told me I'd have to hang on the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it. The ticket? Well, I never. Said that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in lug, to stop it being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it. But really, why on earth would Mr. McGilden have done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police, it makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGilden had the driver deposited at Windy Banks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I legged it before the coppers showed up. Well done, Gina. It can't have been easy to tell the truth like that. Ginny's real put her faith in you, Runo. Yes, and to thank her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial's over. So I need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible. It's time to really go for it. Press her on every statement. I did it. I suppose I should. Oh, and another thing. What's that? Take a look at those two. Isn't it strange that they've been whispering to each other the entire time? Yes, that is strange. It looks like they're having a secret discussion about something. I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with that. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it. Alright. So do I just pursue them in any statement?
Hold it!
Okay. Okay, I think I need... Sorry. Ah, shoot! Okay, I have a feeling I need to, like... I need to pursue them at some point.
Hold it!
Okay, he threatened me 2 months ago. Not lose it.
Excuse me!
Is there something you'd like to share with the court, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Graydon? Inspector, Mr. Graydon. You're trying to give me a heart attack? You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, sunshine. You think I've got anything to talk about with a shady gent like this? And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating. Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe you now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. It would appear on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc, however, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilded took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point, the disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way. Although I don't understand why as of yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilded's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited. I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the cove died right after its trial, I knew that. So you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own. Well, why not, eh? They were only gonna be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have got them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime. Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGilded was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? Eh? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. It was probably gonna sell it. And you can't blame me for not thinking that. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime. My lord. The evidence your lordship requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir. The mysterious little box deposited by McGilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. To be continued. Okay. Alright. Part 4 trial. Oh my god, how long is this case? Alright. I think this next half will probably take another hour and a half or 2 hours, considering the length of each part that we did yesterday. So, like I said earlier, this will be a short stream, so I'll have to end early, and I would have to end it now. So, alright, let's just go back to the menu so that we have music. Alright. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for joining, and I really do appreciate it. Coburn, again, thank you for the 9-month resub. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, tomorrow I'll be off, but on Thursday, hopefully we finish this. I don't know how many more parts there's gonna be for this case. Jeez, this is a very long-ass case. But anyway, so yep, everyone, thank you very much. Again, don't forget to check the socials, my Twitter and YouTube. Please do check out YouTube. And I also have a TikTok as well if you're a millennial or younger and is into TikTok. Go check that out as well. So anyway, yep, we'll continue this on Thursday. And hopefully we finish this game. So, yeah, let's find someone to raid. You know what? Let's raid. How many adventures are there? There are 5 in game 1. There's another 5, I think, in game 2. So after we finish this case or this adventure, we are going to do Ace Attorney 6, Spirit of Justice. Then after Spirit of Justice, we're gonna do game 2. Because in the release timeline, it was Dual Destinies, then Ace Attorney Chronicles, The Great Ace Attorney, then Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice, Phoenix Wright, then The Great Ace Attorney Resolve, which is game 2 of Chronicles. So alright, yeah, let's find someone to raid. Who can we raid tonight? You know what? Let's raid Tweed. Yeah, he's gonna go on for quite a while, so... Yeah, he's doing Entropy, and he is in... What level is this? Yeah, the mole level. Alright. That timeline hurts my head. But yeah, this is a spin-off, so it's not like... It's not in the Phoenix Wright chronology. It's like way before that. But in terms of game release, it's like, yeah, Dual Destinies, which is Ace Attorney 5, then The Great Ace Attorney, which is this one, then Spirit of Justice, which is Ace Attorney 6, then The Great Ace Attorney Resolve, which is game 2 of the Ace Attorney Chronicles. Anyway, so I hope that explanation clears your question on that timeline or chronology or whatever. So, alright. Let's go read Tweed. Yep. Anyway, yeah, apologies. I did have to make this a very short stream. I do have to like sleep early and get up early because I have a meeting at 7 in the morning. Yeah, hopefully I would be able to get to bed and not be groggy tomorrow morning. Anyway, again, everyone, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your night, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.